Welcome to episode 57 of Winging It. In, out, what's it all about? Don't know whether John Textor's coming or going, but we'll find out a little bit later. I've got Hesketh.
Hello.
And Albert.
Hello.
Yes, welcome in. Start on a very somber note tonight with the horrible news from the Dolomites, where a Palace for Life member of staff and his friend have gone missing since 2nd of January. Sadly, one body has been found and they're searching for the other. Winging Its thoughts are with the family, friends and colleagues at this time of everyone affected. Very sad news indeed. Going to need to crack open this beer to raise the spirits, I think. Vanishing Point, which is what I was going to hope happened to Chelsea at the end of the game, but alas, they held on from that point.
What's the can look like, Terence? Is it a fancy can?
Oh, let me just finish this pour. It's a very
That's a big one.
Plug. Yeah, right. It's actually a really nice can, actually.
Not
very
bad.
Scenic. It's from Burnt Mill Brewery. I've never heard of this before. It's a fog IPA.
What does that mean?
Citra and Nectatron. We've had Nectatron before. 6%.
Nectatron.
My favourite Transformer.
Yeah.
Turns into a big nectarine.
Vanishing Point is a delicious fog IPA with a soft and full mouthfeel from flaked oats and dextrin malts. Citra and Nectatron from USA and New Zealand give us a vibrant melody of flavours. Citrus fruits, pineapple, passion fruit and stone fruits all meld together to create a delightful fruit cocktail.
Fuck off.
Very good. Very good. Am I alone on the beers?
You are with me, I'm afraid.
I've not done it tonight. Sorry.
Do you know what this looks like in terms of see-throughability? Suggests why it's called fog.
It looks like chicken stock. It looks like you filled up a pint glass with Caneur chicken stock.
Well, it doesn't taste like that. It's very delicious.
Have you got anything to drink, Albert? Are you going in dry?
No, I'm dry today. Sorry.
Jeez.
I can tell you where it wasn't dry. At the Den 3 years ago, when Michael Elise was in the corner shushing the spewing at the mouth Millwall fans. 3 years ago.
I was going to say, are you sure?
Yeah. 3 years ago today.
If you'd have told me that was a year ago, I'd have believed you.
It's just why we were so shit last week at the best and worst moments of 2024.
Yeah.
The playoff final, that was the best moment of 2024.
Yeah. 3 years to the day since Elise run right at the Den.
So long ago, JP had hair.
Still kicking corner flags to this day. Boom. But yeah, great day out that was. But of course, just watching the videos made me miss Elise again.
Yeah.
More blasts from the past. Tony Pulis has been on a podcast this week and he talked about Palace a bit. Nothing really groundbreaking. He talked in the main about why he set up different to the way he did at Stoke and how Balassi and Punchin and Shamak allowed him to sit really deep and, tear teams apart on the counter and all that. But what was quite interesting was he kept having to backtrack because he was saying how amazing the Palace fans were. And he's like, not like the Stoke fans weren't or anything like that. But, Palace fans were amazing.
What podcast was this?
Oh, I don't know. I'll share the links on the socials. I don't really know.
It wasn't the High Performance podcast with Jake Humphries, was it?
No. It was with like a kid, basically, not like a young man. Oh, young man. But he was. Yeah, I think it's worth a watch. It's only like the Palace section's only 5 or 6 minutes, probably worth a watch. And we was discussing before, me and Hesketh, how Tony Pulis exists in this world of like, I love him and utterly respect what he did for Palace, but at the same time, he's a bit of a cunt. So
I think that's a fair summary.
The dichotomy of man. Quite good. I respect him, but you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. Okay. This is a bit, so bear with me. Crystal Palace Football Club has become the first in the world to offer permanent technology for fans who are visually impaired to improve their matchday experience. So this is, they wear headsets, virtual reality headsets.
And what do they show on it? Something else?
Yeah, bear with me. Extracts from the article read, one user, Mr. Park, said, "It's great technology, but I took it off so I didn't have to watch Chris Richards defend against Jadon Sancho." Another visually impaired since birth user said, "It really was an eye-opener." I'd obviously heard that Selhurst is a shithole, but seeing it with my own eyes, I hadn't fully appreciated how much of a shithole it is. God knows why Simon Jordan wanted to fake brag about owning it. I think I'll go back to listening on the radio. Scott Summers said of the technology, "This is incredible. It's so realistic. I still can't see past the gantry from my seat in the back of the arse."
Look, please tell me you've made these up.
One partially sighted fan who didn't want to be named refused the technology. They said, "I'm pretty sure watching Peter Taylor's Hero is what did this to my eyes in the first place." Not risking more.
He's gone.
I'm sorry, I wrote this, and
how strong is that fog that you're drinking?
Oh, I don't know.
You enjoyed it. It's good.
I got one more. One fan looking on with 20/20 vision looks baffled. When approached for comment, he said, "How can they watch virtual reality headsets on the Wi-Fi in this place? I can't even get on the apps to laugh at the Charlton score at half-time most games." When informed that they operate on their own private 5G network, he appeared to mumble under his breath, "That's another benefit withheld from the increasingly persecuted average white man," before heading back to Block A of the Homesdale. I'm finished.
I think we should just wrap it up there. And we drew with Chelsea, and we're playing Stockport. Good night. Very good.
Good night. But no, I mean, it's great, obviously, that capability is available. I remember for years, part of really badly sighted woman, Palace fan, going to all the games home and away. Always had a little radio with her and just would listen along. We're watching it. She was at everything.
And so this is in the stand. This isn't.
Yeah.
This isn't.
Yeah.
From home.
So you sit in it, in the stand, so you can soak up the atmosphere and everything, and you watching it as live in virtual reality for people obviously can't see the pitch but still have some eyesight.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yep. I mean, with your bins, mate, you're probably not too far away from needing that. They look really thick.
Excuse me?
You said you look really thick.
That's just, I'm deaf, not blind.
Yeah, I had to put on my glasses, though, to read. The club are looking for a new social media executive. And I had to put on my glasses to read if I was seeing the 26k a year salary. Now, obviously, when we had Chris Grierson on the pod on episode 50, go back and listen if you haven't already.
Please.
Or just give it another go. It was great. Yeah, he said, outside of the first team, everyone's working within their means and there's a budget and whatever, but 26 grand. Especially when the job descriptions, so experience, skills and qualifications, essential. 2 years of experience within a media team working on high profile social media accounts. So they're asking for an absolute specialist to come in on what is basically under London minimum wage. With 2 years experience. You've got 2 years experience. Come to a bottom of the rung on the payroll. It's astonishing, really.
Essential skills, being able to spell boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You get an extra £10 a week if you get content out of Will Hughes, Good content. I will use that. But no, so a creative mindset approach, a clear understanding of the club's current social media output, extensive Premier League football knowledge, outstanding written communication skills with exceptional attention to detail, basic video editing skills, basic image editing skills, willingness to work out of hours and weekends.
Oh, fuck that.
A willingness to be flexible and work to tight deadlines. A people person, someone who can build and maintain positive working relationships club-wide with all colleagues. Someone who lives and breathes social media with strong views as to what represent outstanding content and community management. And it just goes on. It just feels like, I can't believe this is describing a 26 grand a year job. Just feels wrong.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great.
I was going to say, you're going to throw your hat in the ring.
No, I don't have half of those essential skills.
Exactly.
Basic image editing. I've got that one. I put Terence's face over that picture of Hugh Edwards with his arse out once upon a time. I don't think that's what they're going for. Yeah, I don't think that's what they're going for. Boom.
I mean, there's a highly desirable section as well, which is advanced video shooting and editing skills, advanced graphic design skills, experience working with talent, in-depth knowledge of Crystal Palace Football Club.
Little asterisk on that one, and at the bottom it says, you must also interact with Jeffrey Schlupp.
Yeah. Can you make a GIF of Textor on a skateboard? You've got the job.
Maybe I should apply.
Actually, yes.
Maybe it won't be Jeffrey Schlupp. Haven't I seen him linked with Blackburn somewhere?
And the MLS, if you can believe.
And the MLS. I can
Textor
believe
or
that.
Schlupp?
Schluppimania. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Schlupp in the USA. There's your chant.
Schlupp in the USA.
It works.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck it. They don't know, do they?
I mean, that's not what I was saying.
Defense.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to go for. Talking of Americans, John Textor, the slippery bastard, is, Sportsbank headed article has come out today saying exclusivity agreement with Eagle Football Holdings Limited. Sportsbank Limited, a sports investment company led by Crystal Palace supporter Zachariah Janua, announces that it has entered into an agreement with Eagle Football Holdings Limited for an investment in Eagles, which will include a period of exclusivity while due diligence is conducted and relevant commercial and legal agreements are concluded. So now he's got exclusivity agreements with both companies trying to buy the club, and one is to sell the club and one is to remain involved in the club. But I think the idea is this Zachariah guy would take his place on the board.
Clear as mud. Clear as your booze.
I'm very confused.
I think, I mean, having read this Sportsbank thing literally a couple of hours ago from recording, we're recording on Wednesday night. It's very much like, they're buying into Eagle Holdings and are really big on the multi-club, whatever. So I don't like that. So I'm out. And he wants to, I think Textor's main goal is to float on the New York Stock Exchange as well, which them buying into Eagle Holdings helps, or at least backs. Whereas the other exclusivity is just to buy his shares completely in the club, not in Eagle Holdings.
And that's the two Saudi guys, right?
Yeah. But the Matt Woosnam article seemed to really point out that they left Saudi Arabia a long time ago and went to America. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess they've both got exclusivity at the same time. So I don't really understand that.
Because it's two different structures, I guess.
Yeah. So now it's just a race, is it? To see who gives them the money first.
Skateboard race. Go!
Yeah! Who can pop an ollie? Is that what you do? Pop an ollie? Pop shove it. That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Pop a bollock if he keeps falling off it.
Yeah. Pop your elbow out of his joint.
Ow!
It's been a while. Enjoyed that. But yeah, fuck knows what's going to happen. Just remember 4 months ago, he was trying to buy Everton.
And he said that he had an exclusivity period with them, which it turns out, no, we didn't. So who knows? He's just keeping us on our toes. He wants us to have content every week. That's what it is.
Fucking corruption.
It is. You don't want to do it this way.
More ins and outs than Lily Phillips. Look it up.
Okay, yeah.
Not you. Oh, I've got someone's ask and you shall receive. Somebody, I can't go and dig it out now, asked for a Carl update given all the transfer news that's going around. So Carl has sent me a very long WhatsApp that I'm going to read to you now. Following on from the last time I was on the pod, main strategy hasn't changed. We want a left wing back and a creative attacking player. The two I was referring to and couldn't name are now in the public domain. That's El Hadj Malik Diouf from Slavia Prague and Ben Doak from Liverpool, who is on loan at Borough. And we know that those were the names because he did tell us. We just didn't share. Lots of work done on both pre the window opening and both players keen to join. As mentioned on the pod, Dougie would also like to bring in Esse from Millwall, but he would need game time, which he won't get if Doak comes in. If we could afford it, we'd bring in all three and then loan Esse out. So the update on those three is Diouf, Slavia selling their keeper to Spurs has put them in a strong negotiating position. They don't need money anymore. OG has also put pressure on to get signings in early. That isn't helpful in a negotiation. Don't be surprised if we see Diouf kick off, as it looks like he's missing out on his dream move. We were here 12 months ago with Munoz. He threatened strike, which brought Ghent back to the negotiation table. Slavia won't be happy, but we don't have to deal with them again. So sounds like that is fairly positive and should happen. Doak, this is difficult purely based on other clubs being interested and Liverpool also not in a hurry. Doak is also happy where he is, albeit he is keen to join us. We have a choice, pay a big fee, more than we think he is currently worth, or try another time. Talk's still ongoing. I think, no, it's unlikely this deal gets done. An Esse, with Doak not joining, I think we'll move formally for Esse and bring him in, and he'll be part of our first team squad for the remainder of the season. The difference in this window versus most before is we have time pressure created by Glasner as he wants players early. That comes at a substantial cost, which may well mean moving on to plan Bs earlier than normal, i.e. Esse instead of Doak. So that's players in. It's also not only about buying players, it's keeping players, i.e. Mark Gay. Chelsea are playing games. They want a centre-back, they want Gay, or they want the money from Chalobah to fund them buying another one. They offered 10 million plus Chalobah and for Gay and a sell-on, but we rejected it. Which was interesting because I said, so does that mean we value Gay? They value Gay at 40 million. And he was like, no more than that because they value Chalobah at 40 million. Plus the 10 million, plus whatever the sell-on would bring you on top of that. So the mismatch here is how much they value Chalobah at. And I think me and Carl settled on 15 million is probably the right price mark for Chalobah. Be fair to everyone. We don't want to lose MG in Jan. Ideally, we don't want to lose Chalobah either, but ultimately Chelsea go ahead with their implicit threat, then we will. He wants to stay with us. Would we go back into the market for a centre-back? Very unlikely. We have Richards, Riyad, and Radchad got some minutes, didn't he? 50 minutes?
Yeah, 50, 60, yeah.
Was that today?
Last couple of days.
Couple of days. Mm-hmm. And obviously Klein can step in there as well. The hope is common sense prevails. They know Chalobah is unlikely to be sold to another club and they won't play him, so he stays with us. Either way, shows how difficult it is to trade with this new Chelsea operation, and signing Chalobah in the summer will not be easy. There's a reason why there was no buy clause inserted at the start of the loan. So there's your update.
There you go. Comprehensive. Thank you very much.
Left wing back at long last. I'll tell you what, I think half time in the Chelsea game, Tyrant Mitchell must have read the rumours about a left wing back coming in, because the difference in his performance from the first half to the second half was marked. Like, fair play to him, he had a great second half. So, thoughts? Happy with that? Fills the holes?
Yeah, definitely happy with the left wing back. I made the mistake of watching his YouTube video. I don't normally do that anymore, but he looked fun to watch. Bundles tackles a bit, got a rocket of a left foot, looks very, very quick. So if he wants to kick off with Slavia Prague a little bit and force the move, I'm all for it. And then, the creative wider player. I've got a mate at work who supports Borough, loves Doak, thinks he's brilliant, says he's sort of an old school take players on. And similarly, my best mate is a Millwall fan. He's all right though, really. I know he's the 1%.
He's not your best mate.
He can spell. But yeah, he really rates Essay. Says he's really good. Obviously, would rather he didn't come to Palace, but he says he's going to be a really good player in years to come. So all sounds fairly positive, whichever one of those we get. And Chelsea can fuck off.
I made the same mistake as you, but with Essay, watching a 7-minute video of him, and he's like a left-footed Wilfried Zaha with shades of Ebbs about him as well. I was a big fan of what I saw. He's raw, but so was Elise when he came, and within 3 years he signing for Bayern Munich. So yeah,
nice.
I'm sold. I haven't watched the Doak video yet.
Was there a fee? Sorry, did I miss a fee for Essay or a reported?
The reported fee is 12 million, but there's some sort of talk about he's got a release clause that I think becomes active in the summer. And Palace can more likely say, well, we'll guarantee you some money now.
Yeah.
26 grand.
Isn't that 26 grand in the city? Something like that.
22.
22 grand, close.
26 if you add inflation.
Fair enough.
The rates.
And I was then also running through 18,000 lira in my head, which is another song. But no, I think Palace want him to get done now, because then they don't want the competition in the summer, right? If there's everyone now knows about a release clause that becomes active, and then we've got this thing now, right, of teams are going to piggyback off the back of our scouting without having to actually do it, because they're looking at if our track record is Elise, Eze, Wharton from the championship, and Gay as well, I suppose, because he was at Swansea. Teams might just start going, well, if Palace want him, we should get him. So
looking at you, West Ham.
Well, Mr. Lopetegui, who was heavily linked with us, watched a load of our games, as you remember, spotted all around Selhurst. He's already been sacked by West Ham today. And who's going to be in charge just in time for the game against us?
The human weed, Graham Potter.
His Chelsea money's obviously finally run out.
Yeah, he didn't have a great record against us, did he?
Well, obviously, famously, we had the Benteke
smash and grab
during COVID, when there's that beautiful clip of him just throwing a water bottle down in disgust. Because that was like when XG was really becoming a thing, and Brighton were the XG gods, couldn't convert any of it to goals.
And we had an XG of like 0.0001 or something.
Yeah. Minus. I think ours was in the minus.
Yeah.
We scored back-heeled at nutmeg 2 players and a stonking volley at the back post from a looped-up cross. Yeah, it was, can't imagine the XG would have been very, very high. I think it might have been the only 2 times we touched the ball in their penalty area as well.
Yeah.
I think it might have been.
It was brilliant. I got in so much trouble that day because when we scored, I ended up like when was it? 2020, yeah. So we just had Emmy, and she was fresh. She was small newborn in bed asleep, and I'm like kicking the ball pit up in the air. The medicine ball has gone flying into the shutters. I had to apologise eventually. It'd have been better if I had curtains, wouldn't it? But alas, alas, I don't. So promising stuff there, looking good. Thank you to Carl for the updates. Let's move on to Chelsea. I don't know about you, Hesketh. I was really worried in the first 15 minutes that they'd rediscovered their form and it was going to be a bit of a cricket score.
Yeah, well, I was wearing my Winging It hat for the second time. And obviously the debut was a win against Southampton. And I thought it would be the last time I'd ever wear the hat early on because, like you say, didn't really even get a touch in the first 15 minutes. And every time they had the ball, it looked like we were going to shit ourselves and concede. So I'm quite glad that we managed to stem the tide a little bit and pull it back. But yeah, when Palmer scored, when did he score? 15 minutes in? Earlier than that?
14 minutes.
There you go. When that happened, I thought the writing was very much on the wall.
Yeah, and in the 14th minute, I mean, the ball into Jadon Sancho on the halfway line and the dummy that he sells to Chris Richards. And it was a dummy that we then saw quite a few more times in the game. And it must be something they thought about and talked about in advance about how tight our defenders get, because it was definitely designed. But I think what happened to Chris Richards is quite frankly unforgivable on a professional football field.
It does have a whiff of a really overweight 44-year-old Sunday League player having to mark the 18-year-old ringer on the other team. And
yeah, exactly. I mean, you've got to kick him up in the air. You can't let him go past you like that.
But it's a shame because he recovers quite well, and then the sort of the little nudge through from Sancho into the box is a bit of a disappointing pass as well, because there's other players back at that point.
Yeah, I mean, Lacroix loses his mind, and I don't know whether it's because he's just got no faith whatsoever in Chris Richards to deal with the situation when it comes back in. And you saw him getting a bit disgruntled a few times with Chris Richards, to be honest. Like, especially when you watch it back on the TV, you can see he's not happy. Yeah, he's kind of side-eyeing him quite a lot like that, Hesketh, like you're doing now. But the Qua should never have come across. And the moment he come across, he just left Palmer completely open.
Yeah.
And yeah. And it's a nice finish by Palmer. I thought, stupidly, for the first half an hour-ish, 25 minutes, we gave Palmer the freedom of Selhurst Park and he fully took advantage of it. And yeah, undoubtedly a special player. And then, yeah, like I say, it could have been a cricket score. They could have scored anything. They have a couple of one header wide from a set piece. Jackson sneaks in at the back post from another flicked on set piece. I don't think anyone realised he was there. Henderson didn't even react. No. He would have just flown in if he hit the target. And then you got Jackson's then through, sells the Qua a bit of a step inside and outside of his boot. That's right towards you, Hesketh, isn't it? Like that's where you stand, basically.
Yeah, I mean, until it didn't go in, it looked like it was going in. It was a really good shot, actually. But yeah, I mean, both that and like you say, the one where he came round the back. Just like we said, it did look like Chelsea had found their form, found their touch that they hadn't had for the last couple of games. But we turned it around.
We did turn it around, and it's a bit of a tactical tweak that does it as well. Sarr starts to come more central and gets up in Palmer's space. So, it's hardly like Palmer's a fucking secret. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
It seems a bit weird that we let him run around and do what he wanted. But yeah, Sarr sort of gets in the middle and gets in his space, and then we start having things happening. It also pushes Munoz a bit higher up the field as well when we start the big switches onto him quite a lot. And The first cutback that's dragged wide is Mateta, Albert. Sort of trickles, deflects.
Yes. Sorry, I know we'll talk about it, but it's the Eze one that's just on a loop in my head at the moment. Yeah, shame.
Yeah, I mean, we can go straight to it's basically the next big chance, isn't it? When early on in the first half, I think it's in like minute after half time, 2 minutes after half time. Munoz away down the right again, perfectly picks out Eze for the 5th or 6th time this season. And Albert explained to me, because the goal against Southampton meant that he was supposed to have turned the corner and these were supposed to start finding the bottom corner.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it speaks for itself. It's a terrible miss. And I think there's also a world where a player as sharp as Eze, I think he's even got time to take a quick touch. I know it's instinctive to hit it first time. For a player like Eze, I'm not talking about myself.
You're more in the big 44-year-old centre-back trying to deal with an 18-year-old ringer.
Yeah. Can I just take three or four touches before I try and hit this towards the goal from 8 yards?
Problem is, my first touch would have gone out for a goal kick. So.
Yeah, and I'd have pulled a muscle. Yeah, it's like you say, he's scored an absolute banger a week ago. And that's after missing several sort of chances of a similar vein, and you sort of think when it rolls across, yeah, that's going in. He scored a great goal against Chelsea already this season, hasn't he? But yeah, it's a shame. But it was trying to be positive. It was nice to see that it didn't. We really, really sort of tried to turn it around second half, and with the exception of like one or two half chances that Enzo misses and Nicholas Jackson misses, we were by far the better team in the second half and looked really good. And that that's not against Southampton. That's not against a bottom three team. It's against Chelsea, who up until recent weeks have been in great form. So let's hope that's now the sort of kickstart.
Just quickly on Chelsea, Hesketh, do you think they can get back in the title race? Probably a striker short, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't see them winning the league or being that close to Liverpool, I assume. But they're a decent team. I know that they're making this thing. Oh, we don't have enough centre backs and all this sort of shit. But they've got
just want all of ours.
All of ours, yeah. They've got a good squad. I think, they do need another striker. Nkunku, I don't know if he's injured. He hasn't really done huge amounts. Jackson has scored a decent amount, but he's not massively convincing. So
he gets loads of chances, doesn't he? You can see why he gets a hat-trick every now and then, because they're being laid on a fucking plate for him.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all set up for him to exploit his pace in behind teams. So
and I
gets
don't
the
think
chances.
I don't think he's terrible, but I think, he's not like an elite striker that really you would associate with teams consistently being top 2, top 3.
Yeah, again, we've talked about this recently. It's unfortunate that Sunderland aren't in the Premier League, because he'd definitely be there in 2 years' time. Or to saying that, they might be in the Premier League. Obviously, Carl hasn't updated anything on Joe Bellingham there, so assuming that it's just paper talk in that sense. But they're 5th in the league. I can't see why Joe Bellingham would make any sense. He said he didn't want to come in the summer.
Yeah,
Sunderland now have a chance of coming up to the Premier League. There's zero chance they're going to want to sell unless it's at an absolute premium. So just don't think anything adds up in that story.
Yeah, I don't think that's a deal that we're going to do.
If Sunderland don't come up, maybe in the summer, who knows?
Just to jump back super quickly to the Chelsea game, I was really pleased with
Why would you want to do
Decore's
that? It's only what we're talking about.
Well,
I've got to go. This is a point I've got to go. This is good.
No, I thought Decore was good. I thought he obviously is not 100% match fit, and that's why he got taken off. But I thought he was doing a lot more of the stuff that we're used to him, or that we had been used to him doing pre-injury, breaking up the play really well, getting the ball moving really well. And to do it against Chelsea, and actually his performance when he came on for Will Hughes at Stamford Bridge was also really good, and the turning point of the game really. But yeah, to see him get that sort of performance, because I think he needed it, is really, really positive, and I'm hoping that is a catalyst. As much as we want Eze's goal against Southampton to be a catalyst, I hope that this hour or whatever it was really pushes him on to get back where he was.
Yeah, he just looked infinitely more mobile. Like we've been saying a lot about, he just looks like his legs have been replaced by lead, and he can't control the ball. It keeps getting stuck under his feet. He looks really sluggish. He just no mobility whatsoever. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, he's just gliding around the pitch like he normally does, reading the game really well. Starting moves off and so on. Yeah, really, really impressed with his performance. And like you say, hopefully he kicks on from there, because this is a player who was getting linked with Liverpool before he got injured. Do you know what I mean? It's like if we get that version of Decore back, or even approaching it, then it's like a new signing.
Ding.
Ding. Especially given that Wharton is likely to not be back in any guys until February at the earliest, really. So,
yeah, you can see they're great players and they're doing really well, but you can see Hughes and Lerma very quickly running out of steam. And I don't mean that in a horrible, it's not about their ability, but they have to do so much work in the middle of the park. Yeah, we really need some sort of more options in there that can play an hour or 70 minutes. So the more Decore does, it obviously he's not Wharton, but it certainly takes takes a bit of the sting out of Wharton needing a little bit longer.
No, absolutely. We need all four of those midfielders, given how much running they have to do in Glasner's system. And as Carl keeps going on about, if you follow him on Insta or when he's on the podcast, he thinks we need another centre midfielder. He'd want a fifth in there. But I just feel like Devaney's climb up the rankings has probably put paid to that idea in terms of us even looking for one. But yeah, but like I say, if we get peak Decore and peak Adam Wharton in the same midfield, mate, I'm like, because it's interesting with Jefferson Lerma. I kind of love and hate is too strong, because I don't hate him at all, but like he does seem to have a great performance and then a really iffy performance in his repertoire. And I think in this game he tried to create the Will Hughes role a little bit and hassle teams and run, and he was just all over the place, a bit of a headless chicken, really. He was kind of getting dragged out of position quite a lot in his pursuit of trying to close players down, and then would often then not get back into position to pick the ball up off the centre-backs. And Gay was getting really frustrated with him a lot because he wasn't there to pick up the passes when Gay had the ball. So he was ending up having to knock a few passes around, bouncing off of other centre-backs before Lerma got into position. But at the same time, he should have probably realised that Lerma was probably running 20 kilometres in that game, which shows again how good Will Hughes has been this season in terms of he manages to get around the pitch, hassle players, and then still be there to pick the ball up as and when needed. So, yeah, so having all four as options who all have different skill sets in different ways and so on, I think is really, really great. And when they're all fit, it's obviously going to be a huge benefit for us. Who came on for him? Can you remember? My brain's gone dead. Because he did go off. What did he go off around the hour mark, didn't he?
Kamada and Nketiah came on, didn't they? So,
yeah, it was Kamada, wasn't it? So Decore went off for Kamada, and Kamada sort of went into the middle. Didn't think he did all right in there. I don't remember. I definitely feel like I've seen a switch in Kamada in the last few games, in the last few subs appearances. He looks a bit more at ease with himself, I think.
Yeah, I think again, I think we said it in the last pod, but I mean, we obviously all want him to do well, but there's points where he does something really good, like he'll get his foot in and get the ball, and then the next thing will be him misplacing a pass. And I don't know if that's him trying a bit too hard or if he's just confidence is low. Obviously, people were still getting on his back. But I don't think, to listen to some people, you think he is just absolutely abysmal footballer. I just don't think he's been that bad. I don't think he's been particularly good. But I think any mistake he makes is massively amplified. Like, for example, the passing. Lerma's strong points have been his passing, but he had some really wayward fucking passes against Chelsea. But that's sort of just ignored. If Kamada makes a bad pass, then it's like, well, he's fucking terrible. And obviously that's a symptom of him not doing great since he's come here. But I just think it's exaggerated now. I think people just assume he's going to be shit when he comes on and he's fighting a losing battle, really. Just hope he scores a hat-trick against West Ham and gets everyone back on side.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always prepared to track back and recorrect my opinions on things, and I feel like I'm starting to see something different in Kamada, just in the way he's carrying himself, and I hope that materialises.
He definitely looks more comfortable. I don't know if that's getting used to the pace of the game, but yeah, you put it nicely, Terence. He looks more sort of confident in himself, and hopefully the next progression is actually starting to have a bit more of an influence of a game. His first few appearances, he was a bit like you're saying about Lerma. He was a bit headless chickens at times and running around and couldn't pass the ball, couldn't keep the ball, giving away fouls. So obviously that culminates after a few games, and he gets sent off for a wild red card. But he definitely now looks like he knows his place, and like you say, the next part is hopefully he comes on and he can just be a bit more influential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, back to the game. We've got. We obviously do end up getting the equaliser. The players. One of the guys that stands around us was saying, I think our best chance into this game is just keep passing the ball to Sanchez for him to pass it out from the back, because he's going to cock up at some point. And I think on Match of the Day they really analysed the stupidity of his pass out to Palmer for the equaliser, especially considering we're focused on getting a lot closer to him. And both Sarr and Munoz just read it like a book and jump, and Munoz is all over him and immediately steals the ball. And then to see the entire front three involved, to go Sarr into Eze. Albert, was you shocked that Eze didn't shoot? I mean,
I thought it was a shot.
Very good. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people say he didn't shoot because of a lack of confidence in himself and to put it away or whatever, but it does work out to be the perfect pass.
If I was being really harsh, right? Obviously, we've scored this, and so therefore it's a great pass. And you say it's a perfect pass. It's not like Mateta was in acres of space by himself, and it's look, there's the easy cut back and tap in. Mateta still there's a really, really fine margin of that pass being the perfect pass and Mateta applying the finish. So if you're being really harsh, you could say it was potentially a poor decision. And I can see the argument for the lack of confidence to hit it. But what a pass! It's an absolute laser beam to where Mateta's going to end up in half a second's time, and it's a good finish as well.
Mm. Yeah, and I love Mateta. You saw him have his initial thought process is to just pick the ball out the net and run it back to centre because he wants to win the game, but then sees everyone else is celebrating. He's like, I don't know, actually, I'll go and kick the corner flag if I have to. But I think you said it further up with Albert. It felt like we should have nicked the game, really, given how we played from half an hour onwards. And I think it would have probably been harsh on Chelsea given the opening they had to the game and the number of chances they had in the opening stage. But for all their efforts, one shot on target, and it's the goal they scored.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of becoming a bit of a theme of games, really. We're out shooting teams. teams are barely getting shots on target against us. It's just the 1s, 2s, and 3s. The amount of times we've done that this season, I haven't gone back and logged them, but there's definitely been occasions where teams aren't having more than 1 or 2 shots on target against us. And then, of course, when they do have those shots on target, most of the time they're coming up against Dean Henderson, who pulls a weldy out of his arse 2 or 3 times a game whenever they do get them on target.
Or off his face.
Or off his face. Yeah,
off exactly. His face.
Great positioning, 20 out of 20, basically. That's what it is. So, yeah, it's impressive, really, more than anything, when you just look at it in terms of numbers of shots. I think Southampton had more, didn't they? than Chelsea. But also, I couldn't work out if is it the first time ever that we've gone a season unbeaten against Chelsea?
I read in the Premier League, because I think I read it was 91, 92. 91, 92 was the last time. I think I read somewhere.
Wow, so, so just before the Premier League.
But football didn't exist before then, so it's fine. We've lost to worse Chelsea teams than that. You know what I mean? So I was actually pretty positive after the game. You know, I do think that after the first half an hour maybe we were much better. I thought Munoz was absolutely brilliant as well, and as good as Sancho, as dangerous as he looked at the start of the game, just Munoz took him over on that side. Then Cucurella, I think we felt Cucurella was there to be had, and he was. So it's
all
really
that money,
good.
And he plays, and he still gets a game.
And Sanchez in goal, like Terence said, I mean, maybe it's not the number one striker they need. Maybe they need to look elsewhere.
It is funny. The Cucurella I've seen live is not the Cucurella I've seen on TV. I've seen him just absolutely rip teams apart with getting down the flank and so on. And of course, he won the Euros in the summer. He's obviously not shit, but every time he plays against us, he just looks shit. Because do you remember at Stamford Bridge earlier in the season? Our tactic was Dean Henderson to kick the ball and let Munoz beat him in the air. And I think he did it 9 times out of 10. He beat him in the air. So, yeah. And there was no real efforts late on that. It felt like in the stadium we could nick it, but it just didn't quite end up materialising like that. And it was a good end from the atmosphere-wise. It was a good end to the game, but the stadium was really flat in the first half, I felt. Probably
it was
compounded by Chelsea's performance, really, in that opening 20 minutes. But yeah, it felt really, really flat. It felt like it was cold, miserable. Chelsea have scored early. It's going to go on. But yeah, we grew into it. We got there in the end.
I was going to say, I reckon the atmosphere is going to be better on Sunday with the 5,000 Stockport fans travelling down.
Oh, so did we give them more in the end?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Love an FA Cup third round. I would have rather it have been at Stockport, to be honest. Although,
same.
With the way the weather's going, we probably wouldn't have been able to get up there, to be honest. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You're going to Stockport game. You going, Albert?
Yeah, it's the first time I'm taking both the boys because obviously we've got season tickets, so can't take both children to a league game. So we're Joe's away for the weekend. Lads trip to Selhurst. Let's hope you taste the jerk's got rice this weekend.
Where are your seats? What stand are you in? Are you in the White Horse?
I only bought them. I think I bought them at the weekend, so there wasn't much left. I'm rather near the 5,000 Stockport fans at the other end of the White Horse, so I'll make sure the boys have got their gestures well practiced.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, no, great that 5,000 of them are making the journey down, and our track record, Hesketh, isn't amazing against lower league teams coming to Selhurst in cup games in recent years. League Cup wise, then we lose to Colchester on penalties.
Oh God,
we scraped through against Grimsby in the FA Cup with a Jordan Ayew header late on.
Yeah,
so not expected to be retained. Although at the end of the Chelsea game, Glasner already talking about how he's been analysing Stockport and how they play a 3-4-3, and I was like, oh, So he's on the ball.
Be interesting to see who he picks as well. I know that he's obviously cups are important and he wants to play a strong team, but I think there's scope to play some of the players who haven't played a lot of games. I don't know if I'd like to see Riyadh play, but I don't know if he's quite there. I don't know if it's maybe a week or two too early. But this could be a chance for Devaney to start. It could be a chance for Kapora to get a game at right wing back, not against whoever he's up against Arsenal, the Trossard. Whether Nketiah makes a start against instead of JP.
Oh, Nketiah is 100% scoring on Sunday. 100%.
Whoa! I thought you say 100% starting, which is like
no, he's 100% scoring. Of course he is,
because it's a cup.
Cup, yeah. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing to the end of the season, and then he's going to score in like the first week of April.
Yeah.
His first goal in the Premier League will come in the first week of April. You've heard it here, hot off the press.
Is that meant to be exciting?
No, but he's going to have three. He's going to have three in the FA Cup between now and then, and come April, we're going to be in the FA Cup semi-final. So,
now we're talking.
So, unfortunately, it'll be against Chelsea.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, Hesketh, you've patiently waited to get your point. I now give you permission to land.
I as 99% of the time, I have no point. I was going to ask what you guys reckon. What would you like him to do? Starting 11-wise, what do you reckon?
Score more goals.
Fine. Who do you reckon will play, and who would you want us to play in our starting 11?
Rob Holding.
God.
Remy Matthews.
Up front.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not like Glasner kind of suggested that he thinks we are. I don't think we're like fixture congested. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think he'll go pretty strong, and we'll probably see 8, maybe 9 of the regular 11 with a little spattering of use. Devaney probably deserves a start.
Yeah, Devaney should start for me.
Do you reckon Kamada will start?
Yeah, he's got cup goals.
He does have cup goals.
Like scoring a cup, he made his name by scoring goals in the Europa League on the way to them winning it. So he's a cup game player. Who did he score? Scored against Norwich, didn't he? Scored against Villa in the cup.
Yeah.
All right.
Is your vendetta now against him, Albert?
I don't know. I've never had a vendetta against anyone.
The Commander Discarder. Is that who you are now?
The Commander Camargan.
The Commander Camargan, yeah.
Very good. No.
Oh, bless you.
Bless you.
Yeah, I think I want to see Klein. I'd like to see Klein start. I'd like to see Devaney start. Go on then, put Kamada in and then Nketiah. And I think that's probably it. I'd draw the line at Jeffrey Schlapp. Only because I want to wrap him in cotton wool. I don't want to risk his dream move to the MLS.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very thoughtful.
Okay, I think that's enough for this week. Looking ahead, league game. We can't be at home again after Stockport, can we? I feel like all we do is play at home these days.
We've got an away game against Leicester on Wednesday when we normally record.
Oh.
And then it's West Ham away on my birthday.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Wednesday the 15th of January, Leicester. So, in that sense, then, recording on Thursday next week to review both of those games.
Albert's checking his diary, his file of facts.
I don't know what fucking day it is today. I just have to say yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thursday
See you
next
next
week.
Thursday.
Easy. Sorry, I thought you were still talking about Jeff Schlupp. Was it?
Oh, outrageous!
No. Ooh, we're only joking, Jeff. We love you.
Do those goggles that they put on those lads? Is there anything they can do to make Jeff Schlupp appear better? Like, is there a plug-in?
That's a plug-in.
Is there a plug-in for those?
No, unfortunately not. I can only apologise profusely for hysterically laughing at my own jokes at the top of the show. I am delighted that halfway through Albert was questioning whether it was real or not.
Like I say, I don't know what day it is. I didn't know where I was for about 30 seconds.
Especially after you name-checked one of the fucking X-Men.
You love it. That was for you.
I do love it. I appreciate it.
Okay, right. Thanks for listening. As I say, back a day later next week. So look for us in your inboxes, outboxes, your podcast provider on Friday next week. But, thanks for listening, and until next time, up the Palace.